development. I'm live. Hi, I'm Tori Quisling with the Center for Clairvoyant and Psychic Development, and I'd like to just check in on live. Again, I haven't been on for a little bit and everything's changed. So I like to speak to healers and people interested in spiritual growth and psychic development. And I have a school. Now it's all online at toriquisling.com. I have classes every week, now twice a week, Tuesday nights and Thursday afternoons on all different topics. And all the topics, the next ones are past lives and karma and relationships. We just did pendulums. They're really just classes, but they're practicing in all these things. So if you've learned about it before, you can just bounce in again and we'll practice it together as a spiritual community. I've been teaching for over 33 years in these topics and psychic topics, and I do clairvoyant readings. So today I really would like to speak about uh, is the how do we know if the person that we're with, that we are giving a healing to, or we're teaching, is open to the healing? Because a healing and any kind of spiritual revelation and renewal and learning spiritually has to put aside old beliefs. And I always say when I'm teaching, I've taught both. I've taught academic school and I've taught spiritual school. Now I just teach exclusively spiritual school, but I used to teach elementary, middle, and high school, and even college. And I have a master's in education and teaching writing. So I've done the school myself. So I know when I'm ready to learn something spiritual, we call spiritual growth and spiritual learning revelations. Something is revealed. The answer comes in sometimes really fast, but most of the time very slowly in lots of mysterious ways. Um, and the part that when we go to learn spiritually or even receive a healing from someone, from whatever modality, we come up against some old programs and beliefs to how we learn, how we can take on something new. Even today's climate and the world we're in, there's new things happening. So our old beliefs are coming up against something new, cognitive dissonance. So as a spiritual teacher, my first job is to address that we all have something called an analyzer or an installed mind that has been developed very well, starting with our family when we're in a small child as in a family through school. And our schools offer these programs and develop our analyzer, it's called, this critic, this inner voice. So as you're starting to learn something new spiritually, or even receive a healing and create a miracle for yourself, heal something physical, heal something emotional or spiritual, there's always this little voice inside, and it's called the analyzer. And it sounds the same for everybody. And it sounds like this. It sounds like, I've learned this already. I know this already. It's too easy. Oh, I knew this already, so whatever I'm seeing psychically can't be true. Um, the one that I like to hit upon is the idea that we've learned this already. Because academic school has us with the illusion with every subject we take that there's completion and we finish something and then we don't need to go back. When we go to learn spiritually and we go to receive healings and open up and expand as a soul, we have the same idea that, oh, I've already learned about past lives already, or I've already learned about meditation already, so what's next? Everything's a practice, and the way that we think about as spiritual learners, because that's what we're all becoming now, is that we learn in an upward spiral, and it's a spiral of repetition. We repeat and things get repeated, brought to us, same relationships, same situations, things get repeated, but we're always at a different, higher evolved level each time something is brought to our awareness. So that's how we learn. We learn uh, out of repetition and a higher level of awareness each time we're shown something. So it's really important to know that. And so if you're a healer and you want to help somebody, we want to just tune in to how receptive they are to spiritual growth, to being able to just repeat something that they might have heard before or repeat something they think they know already, but be open to the fact that they're a new person and this is something new. um, it's very profound when you realize that some of our academic programming and growing up in schools has really limited us when it's time to learn spiritually, to grow and open up and let things come in as revelations. So um, I like to, every time I teach a workshop, it's really a practice. It's a class to practice topics and situations. And maybe you've been learning meditation for 30 years or practicing it. Whenever you join a spiritual group, especially with a specific topic, you're going to encounter something new about yourself and realize how much of a higher evolved self you are when you repeat something. So I like to just say that. Now, when you are working with somebody that you would like to give a healing to, or you'd like to explain something spiritually to, or give a reading to, we often will imagine that we have a rose in our hand that's beautiful hello, and we like to send it in our imagination over to the other person and see how well they can receive that rose. It's your hello. If they look away, they put it down, they're having trouble receiving new things. And so then we want to give a healing to their belief system, having them become more um, flexible, more open. That would be the healing for that person, to open them up a little more and bring in more light. And so a healing or communication would be more gradual. Okay, so I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about. Let me see if I can see where comments are. It's a brand new Facebook Live. It looks completely different, and I don't even know where the comment section is. So bear with me. Um, and I may not even have the comments turned on. But I just like to talk about the difference between academic learning and spiritual learning, and all the things that I noticed when I was a academic teacher and now that I'm a spiritual teacher. And really, when you're in schools, there's this idea that we're a blank slate, that we don't know. Oh, there's, hi, Aska, that we come as a blank slate. That's the idea, that we don't know anything and then we're just like an empty cup to be filled with information. But now here we are in 2020 and most of us have woken up and we're like, no, we're old souls with lots of wisdom. So it's really about reminding me about what I know and then bringing out my true soul purpose, stimulating that, helping me find what I'm enthusiastic about. What is it that brings me joy? So in the old days, you would, in this factory model of school, I would call it, and I taught in it, and I went in it, but we would consider children like a blank slate, and it was a factory model. Everyone sits in rows, everyone learns the same thing, standards of instruction and content. And so the idea of the program that we come to when we come to get a healing in the spirit world and we want miracles and we want to create something new is we come from these old programs of conformity and performance, competition, obeying. Things get completed. Once you're done, you're done. But that's not how it works. And then the language of the analyzer from that program is, I've learned this already. This is like that. Like I remember introducing a meditation to a group of people and they said, well, this is, I've already know this. I've read The Secret. I read that book, The Secret. I'm like, well, this is not that. But in school, we often will give something to people and say, okay, now you know what this is. So they think they're finished. The performance in schools makes us say things when we want to be more spiritual, like meditate or do yoga or even get a reading. Hey, Amy, we might say things like, I hope I do it right. You know, I hope this is right. In the spirit world and clairvoyance, what I teach, there isn't anything right or wrong. You're just present in a communication with another person. So we're not performing anything. The readings aren't performed. They're communication in the present moment. Um, So a lot of hopefulness. I hope they like me. I hope this is good. And then even when we talk about psychic and clairvoyant and healer, you'll get comments like this. Well, I'm not gifted. He's gifted. She's gifted. You're gifted. Like comparison and competition. There isn't any competition. That's from school. That's the academic program. Um, and then my favorite one is when I'm teaching you how to tune into spirit, and especially a disembodied spirit, like a deceased relative or a guide or an angel, and someone will say, it feels like I'm just making it up. Well, that's what it does feel like when you start to communicate to spirit. And in school, that was a bad thing. Oh, you're just making it up because we have a book over here that tells us what our answers are. But in clairvoyant development and psychic development, spiritual development, there isn't a book that has all the answers. You start to gain your own truth from your crown. I'm pointing the top of my head because this is where we know things off the top of our head. That's where we know truth. That's where we start to gain our answers and reveal revelations and epiphanies. These are spiritual learning is exciting. So, but I have to, usually with my students, I have to deprogram people from the academic world. And I know it very well, so I recognize the language of it. Um, so what I often say too is if we do a past life reading and it really resonates for someone, like something happened in a past life that is now repeating itself now, and you can really feel like a healing could take place once you realize that. I often say, just to get someone out of the program, we call it atheist energy, non-belief, is to say, allow this to be true so you can just have the healing. If someone gives you a Reiki healing or you take a yoga class and at the end you feel open, just allow it to be real, allow it to be true so you can have the healing. Hey, Lauren, because what happens is we will talk ourselves out of it. The analyzer likes to say, oh, this isn't any good. It was a coincidence. Oh, it's not real. And so the analyzer, that voice that got primed in school, grades K through 12 and then college, um, we don't want to listen to that voice anymore. It's an installed voice. We're going to turn it down. Imagine you can turn the volume down and you want to develop your inner voice. And your inner voice sounds like a cheerleader. Like, that would be great. I would love that. And it comes right out of your heart. So I know when someone's speaking from their inner voice, their intuition, they usually put the word maybe in front of it because of our academic background. Um, we will put a lot of disclaimer language around everything we say. And so when I have new students learning to read, they'll say, well, maybe it might be a mother figure around you. So we learn to speak with certainty. I see your mom around you. Then it creates a healing. Then it makes it real. Um, or when people have an epiphany about purpose, they'll say, maybe I could do that. And there's all this excitement behind it. So let's take the maybe off. The maybe is the indication that spirit is speaking, intuition is downloading. This is a truth. So we learn the language of the inner voice from the language of the academic or analyzer voice. The analyzer voice says, yeah, but you got to be realistic. Yeah, well, but it'll never work. How are you going to do it? So we turn that voice down and we turn up the inner voice, which is this one that I teach in my clairvoyant programs. When we give a reading, we're using our inner voice because we're saying it anyway. Even if the analyzer says that's stupid, you say, well, I see your brother. You know, either we see something and you just say it anyway. The analyzer likes to be the critic. So, um, language of clairvoyance and spirit is really I know, I see, um, I know it off the top of my head. We don't have to explain how we know. I get a lot of people saying, I got a chill. It gives me chills. It resonates for me. So the modern day now of getting spiritual communication and giving it isn't about, oh, you're hit it right on the head or you're 100% correct. It's more like, does it resonate for you? How does it, how does it make sense to you? How did it mesh with you? How did it go with you? So we really are learning how to be better at receiving healings and readings, and we're getting better at then learning how to give that level of communication. So in this time of the world, it is really important, and we have time to ourselves to really start to listen to our inner voice and start to question all the programs that have been coming in. Um, and perhaps they're not true. And in the psychic world, we always call that inner voice, the analyzer voice, atheist thinking. It's non-believer thinking. Doesn't believe in miracles, doesn't believe in magic. It's just a coincidence, discredits things. And so we want that cheerleader inner voice that says, yes, this is true. I can have it. This is for me. It makes sense to me. It resonates for me. And so this is really when you take a class, you take a course with me or a reading, we start to get this voice going, get it primed. Um, and in the medical world, they call this a placebo effect, really, which is when your beliefs have to match the healing. So if you believe in the surgery process that's going to happen, it'll go well. If you believe in the medicine that you're taking, it'll work for you. So we want to develop this belief in a healing, that we can be healed and change and learn and grow and find our truth. That's very important. Hey, Eliza. Hey, Michelle. Amy. Um, Thanks for saying that. Um, so I really appreciate everyone that came on. And like I said, the Facebook Live looks all different, and everything's changed around. They do that to me. Um, but I thought it was very important to talk about, because I've been teaching several classes a week now. And when I notice a student is really getting it and learning is when they start to speak with more certainty. I know it, I see it. They get some downloads, some ideas for themselves, and they talk about it without the disclaimers. No, maybe, it might be. They start dropping all those words and they start speaking with certainty about what makes sense in their heart, their purpose, their commitment. That's all in the heart chakra. And, in other lifetimes and other times of this planet, um, spirit has risen, the understanding that we can always be more than what we're told we can be. Um, we are here to express ourselves fully, which means that we're here to express ourselves spiritually. And so we can work with the language we've been given in the schools, academia, um, but we want to overcome that language of, oh, we've learned this already, what's next? No, wow, I've learned this already, but I mean, I remember this. This is familiar to me. Now, how do I interpret it now? What more can I get from it today? I remember reading some novels in high school and college and then rereading them later in my 30s, and it's completely different experience. And so we always want to stay present with what we're learning, and I like to call it revelation learning. It's just revealed to you. So as something starts to make sense and it starts to resonate with your body and who you are today, let it be a revelation and come in throughout the day or the week. And you can work with oracle cards and special books that have been received from spiritual masters, and just beautiful works of prayer and poetry. And just that's an example of how you can just let it be revealed. It's not supposed to make sense the minute you read it, like in school. Like I used to give to students, like, here, you're going to read this poem and you have a test. But actually, I would incorporate my spiritual training into schools. So that was my little thing, because I always recognize in students that, hi, Angelo. I always recognize in students that they come to me not as a blank slate. They come to me with lots of wisdom. I always approach a student, my elementary students, middle, high school students, I approach their crown chakra with honor. Like, wow, what do they know? What are they experts in? And always speaking to who they are as a wise soul. And so we would do a lot of games in classes, especially the elementary classroom. What do we already know about this before we open up the textbook and learn about the history? And students knew a lot of things already, just from past lives, just from understanding that they've lived before. Of course, I had to say it in ways that didn't sound like I was a psychic teacher. Now I can teach a whole workshop on past lives and sound like a psychic teacher. So um, but children especially want to be seen as old souls. They are not blank slates. They're not just learning everything for the first time. We have to validate everyone we know as being wise and having a purpose, that maybe they're not aware of yet. So it's always good if you're a psychic person, a spiritual person, and you have the some training and some openness. When you say hello to someone, just say hello to their strengths. What do you notice about them that they might not notice? You know, like their kindness or their energy is light or something to say to somebody, just to get them out of this program that everyone that we're trained in, especially in schools, to be in a program of performance and a program of competition, and that's why um, often people don't trust their own truth and inner voice right away. That has to be nurtured. And so I'm speaking to the healers out there and people that are help and guide people too. And even if you don't know you're a healer or a guide, you're doing it for others. But just to recognize in people that they might have some old language that got programmed in school, which is I'm not good enough. I know this already, so I can't I can't learn it in a new way. We want to know that we learn by spiraling upward and that we repeat, 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 even through lifetimes. We might meet some of the same people, have the same situations until we reach a certain level of evolution and awareness and consciousness that it's time to finish. You get to decide as a spirit when you're finished with a certain relationship or situation or understanding. And every experience that we have, we gain understanding. So if you don't know what, let's say I'm teaching about the Akashic Records, well, I'm going to give you an experience with the Akashic Records, some practice with it. You're going to gain an understanding, and you're also going to remember what you already know. This is how a spiritual class works. Um, and I assume all the students that I work with come with deep understandings already and experiences with these topics, but then I'm going to expand it, bring it to the surface, help them get certainty and confidence and self-esteem in their spiritual selves. So that's my goal as a teacher. Hi, Mindy. So, does anyone have a question while I'm on just for a few more minutes? And I'll just see them in the comments. If you have a question about when you give someone a healing, you want to see how open their belief system is to the healing. Do they believe in what this is? And if they're not at 100% belief in this, then you can assist them to open up more. And it may take a little longer for the healing to take place, or it may take place in a different way than you expect. We always want to remind people that when they are attracted to you as a healer or these situations, they must have something inside of them guiding them to it. And we want to awaken them to their own power and truth and wisdom and knowledge. People are trained in schools, academic schools, and had to fight for years being seen as a blank slate. I'd not no information, and here it is, kindergarten, first grade. Okay, what you don't know anything, but these kids come with so much information. So when you're healing an animal, that's a great question, Mindy. So, animals know their wisdom and they weren't trained in schools, so they don't have an analyzer that says, I this doesn't work or this is too easy. So they're a great healee to work on, animals are. So in that case, it would be your own belief system as the healer saying, do I have the miracle power to heal an animal? Can an animal be healed by me? Of course, it's a living being. And the animal that's in your life is going to be assigned to you, literally, like a little furry angel without wings, unless you have a bird. But they're assigned to you, and they're here to heal you. And what animals and our pets do is they absorb all of our stuff. So as you heal them, you're healing yourself. So animals are really, I'm going to do an animal workshop. I think it's in 2 weeks. Yeah, an animal communication and healing workshop. So you'll want to join that one, Mindy. I'm doing it on a Thursday afternoon at 1. My website, toriquisling.com, has a list of all the workshops. And like I said, if you've done animal communication and healing before, it's really practice. It's going to be a new group. It's me. I don't teach anything the same way because I get bored if I teach it the same way. And I like to be in the present moment of communicating. Let's see, Amy, what are some good ways to awaken them so they trust you as a healer? Well, that's a really great question, Amy, because what we want to do is awaken that person to who they are, to their strengths, and to get their self-esteem up. So as somebody that's spiritual like you, Amy, and you can see a lot, you want to give them what we would just say compliments, okay? But not necessarily superficial compliments. Give compliments that ring true for them. Like, I've noticed that you are consistent when you do things, and that's a skill, that's a quality I don't see in very many people. Find something in them to awaken their interest in themselves and their interest in growing within themselves. And so that can just be a simple hello to their soul, what they're good at, what their talents are, what they may not even notice it. They think everybody's that way, but you can let them know how they're unique and how they're special. And this works on adults and children. Of course, we think we do this with children, we should, but adults need this too because they didn't get it growing up. They were really just, how well did they do math? How well did they do English, writing? How well did they stay in line? How well did they stay quiet when the teacher said to be quiet? So there's not a lot of self boosting of self-esteem for your soul in academics world. We want to give that to everyone around us now that we're interested in it. The more we give it to other people, wake up other people and help them raise their self-esteem that way. Hey, Angelo, is it always necessary to ask for their permission first before we perform a healing? Um, you know, you can do it in a sneaky way, and you see someone stuck, someone in a bad mood, just like I was saying to Amy, if you just say, wow, I really notice that you're having a lot of things going on. I can kind of see it around you. You're really distracted with something, and I can see that you give a lot to those people, to the people around you all the time. I just want to give you a hello and recognition for what a kind and generous soul you are. That's a healing as a communication and hello, because many people would consider a healing. They've got a picture about what a healing is. It's a priest or it's a shaman, or they won't understand that. But Angelo, you're so good at that, Angelo, just giving people hello, and consider that a healing. Now, if you want to go further, then you can say, if you'd like more communication about that and some assistance with that, I train doing healing, so I'd love to do more for you. But sometimes you can just wake someone up, set them straight, get them back into their space. Because once you get someone into their space and into present time, everything's good. Most people are kind of sitting in the past, sitting in the future, and that's why everything's uncomfortable. Because we have all our resources, all our energy here. If our awareness and consciousness is somewhere else, in someone else's space or in the future, in the past, or worried, we're not, we feel at a loss and helpless. So we want to just give them a hello, bring them here, and then they can laugh, get them to laugh. Angelo, you're good at getting people to laugh. They can get them to laugh, they're releasing already. Oh, Mindy, oh, your dog had surgery. Oh, yes. So definitely create a grounded environment for your dog, and then just keep showing your dog a picture of what you're doing for him or her. You want to kind of be like, this is why you have this thing on your head, and you want to say, we're helping you, we're helping you, we're helping you, because they get confused about why they might be confined or with one of those lampshades on the head. You want to kind of explain with pictures what's happening, and reassure and ground them. And like a child, a dog is going to be grounding through you. So if you are fine with it, you're happy and relaxed and grounded about then they'll match that. It's just like when a child falls and skins their knee, they look to you to see how bad it is. So if you say, it's not a big deal, and the child's like, oh, okay. But if you have horror on your face, then the child's going to cry. So you want to be around your dog after this surgery and just be calm. Know that this is exactly how they're getting their healing. It's a gift, and you're going to be right there for them. Um, yes, Amy, exactly. And we want to say, really, just all of us being aware and awakened spirits. Spirits having human experiences. We're like completely awake. people put themselves in our path because they would like to be awakened too, but we don't have to be aggressive about it. It can just be very gentle. And I've seen so many of my favorite spiritual teachers how they would work. Just seeing somebody in distress or irritability or just not doing well and just giving them a nice hello, something that you can do that you especially know how to do. Other than you have nice earrings, you can start with that. I like your earrings, and then move into, I also notice that you are, and just say something that really could be true. Um, hey, Michelle, Sherry Michelle in New Orleans. Oh, it's so good to see you. Hope you're feeling well. Um, awesome. And let's see, Aliza, does the recording of this video save for later viewing? Oh my goodness. Yes, I told you the whole thing is different today. It's like a different format, different structure. I struggled a little bit. That's why I came on later. So I'm in the old days it did save. So hopefully it does save. That's my hope, and it should save. And I'll definitely post it again. Um, and Wonderful. So any other comments or questions? Some really good ones. And I like to see so many people on here. And I'm having a great time doing the Zoom room. We really have some powerful spiritual community conversations. I set the topic for our workshop practice classes. Um, so we have a topic that we're there to meet about, and I give you an experience in. But really, we're sharing things that are going on and just feeling like we're not isolated. But also, we're using this format to stay together, and we can train in our remote viewing and our telepathy. But we like to see each other and be live and present, and this is working. So. Wonderful. So I hope a lot of you can join ToriQuisling.com. I have twice a week workshops, practice classes. So it doesn't matter what the topic is, but we make it fun, and the topics are brand new every time, even if it's the same name of topic. um, and Then I also have clairvoyant training programs. And so you really get to know the people in the program. So we show up every week, and we are learning to read, learning to give healings, and learning to turn down the analyzer and come into a place where we can really hear our inner voice, our truth. Um, yes, thanks, Amy. And I love everyone in the workshops. I'm glad you enjoy them. Everyone that shows up in these workshops, I have a lot of the same people. So I've got this community that's really started. So when you're new and you come in, you'll feel the community, and we just have the best time. We laughed so hard yesterday, didn't we, Amy? Telepathy with pendulums. How well can we tune in? And we had some really good belly laughs, really, practicing our psychic abilities, because that's really what it is. It's practice. And we live in a world that's dominated by this analyzer that I talked about, this critical voice, this voice that is not our voice. And we have to learn to discern what is our true voice. It's called the inner voice versus the analyzer that got developed in school. And I was a school teacher. So, I did my best. I had to add to it, but I also did my best to be one of those kind of psychic teachers too. Um, and Hopefully that helped the kids. um, Yes, it was so much fun, right, Amy? All right. Anybody else want to um, ask a question or say anything? I'm going to be going in a couple minutes. So it's the world is changing, but we're able to meet online, and it's fantastic. It's working well. And the more that we join together as a spiritual community, and we keep having spiritual experiences, and we learn in a new way, we learn to receive healings, we learn to receive insights and the big picture in a new way. We get a different voice. So the new voice of learning as a spirit is this is a revelation. It's being revealed to me. It doesn't have to be answered immediately. I'm patient and I can wait for the revelation to come in. It can be revealed to me. I can pray for something, or I can see something that happens and understand that I've been praying for something and this is the answer to the prayer, recognizing our answered prayers. Also noticing that we don't need things to be exact. we can say, this reminds me of this resonates with me, so that you can stay open to not hard, fast expectations and rules and performance and competition and all the things that our academic schools brought to us. And I'm not dissing academic school. I was a teacher in it and I participated in it quite a bit. But it's really good to recognize the difference between the academic voice and the spiritual voice when we go to learn, when we go to give a healing, receive a healing, just be in the world of miracles. Uh, Louise Hay always said, when something amazing happens, the typical thing to say, and this reflects on our academic background, is, I can't believe it. So she would say, no, no, you have to, your language exactly speaks your world. So you have to say, I can believe it. So we want to bring in miracles, and we want to start to get used to having a language that supports and our thinking that supports healing. And again, when somebody is closed down, or they're, it's just because they haven't been supported in their spiritual growth and spiritual openness. You have to give them the new language, starting by complimenting them and seeing who they are as a spirit and waking them up to their grace. Ah, thanks, Aska. Yes, I'd love to see you in the classes. It's just such a joy. And I love seeing your little dog and the pictures. Yes, and a clairvoyant reading is really a profound experience for me, the reader, and the reading. I'm always grateful when someone wants a reading because I learn so much. It's another spiritual experience for me when I connect with another person. So I look forward to seeing many of you in classes. Don't be shy. They're a lot of fun, and also a reading. You get a free workshop when you get a reading with me. And then I have courses where you can get certified in clairvoyant healing and clairvoyant reading. You can see what it's all about. And my website is toriquisling.com, www.toriquisling.com. All right. So I look forward to seeing all of you more. And my goal is to do Facebook Live every Friday for healers and tips for healers, and put that intention out there. And so I look forward to seeing everyone soon, or visiting me on my website. You can send me a note for upcoming Facebook Lives, something that you'd like me to talk about, and then I'll run with that. So let me know what you're thinking about. Okay, everybody? All right, have a great weekend. It is the weekend. One day goes to another, but it is the weekend. And see you all soon. Thank you.